Hi, welcome to Bonney Bags. Today we're going to make a bag called Alvid, and that's from a Norwegian pirate who was the leader of both female and male pirates. Alvid looks like this. One in just plain fabric with not a lot of fuss and muss. It's just not too much interfacing, just a little bit. So it has a slip pocket. It has a zipper pocket in the front there. And it has a zipper pocket in the back for shades or something. And then on the inside, it has a zipper pocket there too. See there. This is the one I made on my speed video where I don't talk at all. This is vinyl, and I pressed these out with my little sisig machine with dies, and I applicate them on there. So I think that's pretty cool. As you see, same with a pocket on the back, pocket on the inside. This is nice and stiff. This is the one we're making today. Purple and with butterflies in gold and metallic colors. If you continue watching, you'll see how exactly we made this. If you don't have the patience to watch for long and you know how to sew and everything, then you can watch the video, the speed video I have for Alvid. Are you ready to get started? We're sewing the same bag that we cut just now. So here comes that with the little zipper here. Basting the zipper in place just a little from the edge here. The pocket lining. And now we go as close as we want to the zipper. The foot is following the zipper. See, this is why I like the zipper a little extra long, because then it doesn't conflict with anything I do. Now we need to finger press this, get it down. Baste it in place. If you're brave, you can clip both parts at the same time. I like to take one step at a time. Okay, so now this part comes there, and this pocket is going on the table like that. But let's sew it from where we already have the seam, so we know what we're doing. Now we can actually top stitch there too. I think we'll stitch over here to keep the parts together, the zipper together. So we can cut a little here, clean it up a little. We don't want to cut too much though. So now we have that. Now we need to just sew the bottom of this pocket. Sew it from this side, just so we're sure our things don't disappear. The side of this pocket is going to come in the side seam, so we don't need to worry about the sides. Okay, so now we have the pocket there. Now we need to put the lining on the back of it. It's a good idea always to use clips. We cannot use pins on this cork. Now we'll cut away a little bit of the seam allowance, because this is a big curve and we really don't want a lot of seam allowance in the curve. And And we cut little snips. Not all the way into the seam, but almost. If you're unlucky and you cut the seam, then you just sew over again. It's a little further in. No need to cry. Good idea to clip again to make sure we get the lining over on the wrong side. Now we can add it to the main front, which is here, and we need to clip it in place. This step is very, very, very important because this outer pocket is wider than the front. So it needs to be held in place. It's going to have to be like this, because if we don't put it like this, it's funny how this fabric is, this excess width here is going to disappear as soon as we have sewn this bag. So this is a little mystery. It just disappears through trial and error. I have discovered that this needs to be this big when we sew this. We will baste these two parts. We can put the lining front of the bag in place too and base it all in one good seam. Oh, it's getting pretty thick here. I wanted it a little soft, so I took this fleece on the lining part. It's going to get a little thicker when we sew the binding on this, but so we're just basting it in place, and we're only using, what, 1/4 of an inch? Be a little careful here over the zipper, because the machine don't like it, although the zipper is plastic. If it's a little excess width here we need to deal with, we can use this, or you can use a chopstick or something so you don't have to have your fingers in front of the foot. This is an awl, and as long as you don't stick it in, it doesn't do any harm. It helps a little to lead the fabric. The front is done. What we can do now is tidy up the seam allowance here so all layers are even. Because that makes it easier to see it from when we sew from the other side. So now we have, the front is finished, and now we can do the back. On the back we have a little pocket, we have that little zipper here. Since the lining is so very, very green, normally I would sew this with the lining part like this, and then I will fold that through. Since the difference in color here is so big, I think I'm going to do it a little differently. I'm going to use this instead, because then when I turn that around, at least it's purple. So I sew along my rectangle here. Then I like to cut a little slit in the center with my seam ripper, but keep it controlled so you don't cut where you shouldn't. I cut into the corner where we have drawn the little diagonal. You don't have to struggle to get all the way to the corner if you have a bad scissors, so you can use this. Stick that in the corner to make sure you got close enough, because this will, when you stick this on the inside of the seam, you're safe. So now we can finger press this, help it a little. Push it over on the other side. Roll the seam allowance a little here. Here's my zipper. I can start all the way back here. Now we must remember to put the zipper pull in on the zipper before we sew across there. Or we won't have a zipper pull. Lift up the foot so we can drag the zipper pull past. A little careful over the zipper here. And now we can since we have this extra little piece now, we can cut off a part of the lining, but what we'll do is just center it, sew it on. And then we take another lining part, put it on top of the other, and as we see here, we cut this off. This is because of the extra part we had here. Okay, so now let's start from the top here. We're sewing around the pocket now. Now we can clean up this pocket. Just make sure you don't cut anything you shouldn't. You can even cut a little on the top. That's the front. And then we do the back the same way, except this is green on green, so we might as well use that little pocket. So we put the pocket right side against right side of the back, center it on the piece. Let's go almost an inch above the drawn line for the zipper. Starting where we have drawn the rectangle. Stopping where the rectangle is, cutting into the corners, checking to see if we got all the way in. I think I will iron this in place because it always looks better after we have ironed it. And since this is just fabric, it's possible for once. So just let me go and iron this. I'll take this green zipper. Now we place that in the center and sew around. If we were really good kids, we would change the thread to green, but since this has some blue, dark blue tones in it, I'm thinking we can get away with it. Barely. Now we must remember the zipper pull again. Lift the foot and get it past. Now we need a little back pocket. Start from the top, Well, we can be good girls again, clip here. Clean up the pocket. That's the lining back part. Here's the bag back part. I mean the exterior part. Let's now put them together and baste them together, like we did the front. I almost forgot. I need my brand. With my Pirate and Bonney on. Of course, I need them on each little bag. And I don't need to sew it through the lining part. So that's a good thing to do that now while I can fold everything else away. Some people are asking where I got this. I got this from thestudio.com. They have so many different things. And now we baste around as far out as we can get. So now we actually do have the front and we have the back and we have the lining ready. So what we need to do now is the side gusset and the strap connectors. The side gusset is pretty easy. We have to do the same, pin them together, the lining and the main part. Pin them together and baste along the side. So we have full control. Actually, since this is not a walking foot, I know that the machine is pushing the top layer down, so I'll actually sew from the same side, from the same direction, but from the other side. This to prevent that I'll get some diagonal funny wrinkles. Been there, done that. Make sure we cut it even. Now we have the side gusset ready. We will put double-sided tape because it makes it so much easier to fold. If you're not 100% sure where the center line is here, draw it up. Make sure you draw it straight. Take the tape off. Fold it towards the center. Since this fabric is so thick, I'm going to cut off. I'm going to not have it 4 double, only double. So what I'll do is I'll cut off some here on the side. Otherwise it gets too thick. And also I need the strap to be very narrow. If your strap is of vinyl or cork, you can do this too. Because you don't want the cork to be 4 layers either. Now we put the little D-ring on. Fold the strap in 2. Put a little clip on. Clearly I need to buy some more hardware. But it takes forever to get here in the Bahamas. Plus it's 3 times the price. Now we have these little strap connectors. And let's put them on the side gusset. Upside down. And here's the thing, we're going to leave the seam allowance. They are made so they can stick up through. And then you baste them in place. And here's the thing, do not cut this off. We are going to put a rivet. So we need the rivet to hang on to something. On the other side. That was the side gusset, and then we're on to the zipper panels. But I did baste this along one side. Now I'm going to put the lining for the zipper panel on there. And I'm going to sew from where I can see the seam on the other side. And I'm going to let the foot be near the zipper. Fold that down and top stitch and pull it while I sew. I can actually baste that in place while I'm at it. Now the other side. We're basting from the zipper side so we see what we're doing. Adding the lining. Sew the lining on. Top stitch. This is now the top zipper panel. Let's cut it even. Let's not cut this. Let's not cut this zipper pull off. Let's rather sew it together. Leave that in the center. We'll try avoid sewing over that metal pull there when we get to it. We can make these edges even. We can sew that onto the side gusset. Just use the seam allowance we're supposed to use, 3/8 of an inch. It's a little thick here, so be careful. I can see that the zipper panel is just 1/8 of an inch wider. I think we should cut that off, because we want them really equal. What's happening here now, we have this sticking out. And we don't want to cut that off, because as I said, we want to put a rivet in there. Instead of using the regular binding that I made one little thing of the lining fabric. I'm going to fold that over the whole thing. So this is now the binding, and I'm using an extra wide binding, just so I can cover up that raw edge of the strap connector. And I'm too scared to sew fast over here. So now we're taking this, folding it over. Of course, I'm adding more and more and more layers, so it's not going to be easier to sew, but it's going to be pretty in the end. So now it looks like that instead of a narrower thing. So what's going to happen is we'll fold that down, and it's going to be like that, and then we have a rivet in that's going to catch this strap connector that we have there. Now we do the same on the other side. This time I'm going to sew this at the same time, because it's so unpleasant to sew many times. So you see all this hand cranking, that's the punishment for putting fleece interfacing everywhere. Now it's getting pretty stiff, and I kind of like that. It looks a little more professional when the bag has some stiffness to it. Just baste on the side, just to hold the seam allowance down. That's all we have to do. I'm thinking before we add this to the bag, we can put the little rivet in, because they're easier to get to with the hole punch and everything. Yeah, well, we can only use the hole punch, and then we can do the rivets later. Okay, so I want it right there, where the strap still is. Now we have a nice little oval here, or circle. So we're ready to put that in. Shall we just make the strap?